Hey everybody, there will not be any singing. You're safe. Welcome to Netkar Pro, the predecessor in a way to Assetto Corsa Competizione and of course Assetto Corsa. And we're looking at the menu here. I'm not going to do a super in-depth video, just give you a quick look what it was and some of the history with me and Netkar Pro. So this game was hyped. And the mic clipped there, but that's for good reason. This thing was hyped in my mind anyway. It was sort of a realistic game sim, and you would actually sort of want to care for your car and have to do the ignition and start all sort of manually, press all the buttons on your dash, and it will be sort of awesome and the best ever. And you know what happens with hype. The young 20-something-year-old can get sort of bored and disappointed. So I remember buying this day one, and I did a lap or two in the Formula Ford, and I had a crash, and I didn't feel good, and I don't think I played it ever since. And only thing I ever did with it was a little bit of the Formula Ford. So it deserves another try, especially with the success that Kunos has had with Assetto Corsa and Competizione. I just like saying that. So the menu is actually a little bit like Assetto Corsa in that it's sort of a launcher. It's not really in-game yet. This is sort of an options thing that you have. So the settings and stuff is all very simple. Not a lot going on. I managed to get it to work in triple screen, but just like some of the other games know through multi-view, you can set your wheel lock and do a couple of things here. But this is kind of a little bit like Assetto Corsa, just less pretty and less advanced. Here are some of the things like the car systems and the car engine and the pit box operations, sort of the stuff that you had to do with the mouse. You could press the buttons in and stuff. It was really sort of a very neat professional idea that in the end sort of turned people off a bit because they just wanted to drive and they couldn't figure out how to start a car. But I think it was brave to go in that direction. Offline test. So here are the cars, Formula Ford basically, two types, 1600, 1800. So sort of a more formula car, ninja formula car, another formula car. This is a nice prototype by the looks of it. This is going to be scary. So we'll have a quick go in some of these cars as the 4C back wheel tells me to get on with it. Preto, Newbury. Lots of configurations of some track, I don't know. So not that many tracks. Perhaps there were mods. I don't even know if there were mods for this game. So this all seems to work well. No input lag, super direct. No multi-view, so it looks a bit odd from where I'm sitting, but you don't see it too much. And a couple of things that are nice here. You cannot see everything. It's sort of stretched over triple screen here. I can't really do much about that. Just outside of your view is some 4C back settings to set the gain down. Let's adjust the view a little bit. Doesn't seem to remember it here. I don't know if I'm missing a save button, but it doesn't seem to remember it. But that looks alright. So you can do quite a few things here, suspension and all that stuff. What I found interesting is with the suspension, you can probably not really see it. When you change the springs and stuff, it gives you a nice summary, the frequency of the suspension and the damping percentages. And if you're not a nerd, you don't really know what that means, but it gives you a good indication of how stiff the suspension is and all that sort of stuff. That's really nice. And of course all the fast bump, slow bump, all the dampers and everything, it's just very stretched. But that looks pretty neat. And let's just see what this drives like. I think we can just... So this is 2006, about the same year that R-Factor came out, and a couple years after Live for Speed. And first impressions with the graphics is that they are very dated. I think there's a MIP filter or something that's too blurry. But it's very direct and it works well. A little chirp on the downshift. And you can already see that I'm sort of regretting not playing this beyond the first But what I remember is 10 minutes. Oh, are we gonna crash? Not really. Because it's certainly very drivable compared to what R Factor was like when it first came out. And the force feedback is very direct. It's and that's a mouse pointer. Yeah, the force feedback is really sort of a little bit more like AMS, that it really snaps you towards the opposite lock that is required. Overall, the feeling is really sort of floaty and fairly sluggish. Just a Formula Ford that seems to hover a little bit. But we have to keep in mind what we're talking about, 14 years old. And you feel the rumble strips as well. And sometimes the floatiness of these older games, you start to think about, well, what sort of physics... Oh, that's pretty nice. What's the physics reason behind that? But I think it's also we have to point to the tracks, because they are not laser scanned. They're really low polygon count. There's not many bumps on there. When there are bumps, I feel them. But the track is too much of a billiard table, and that sort of feels floaty. I remember when we added bumps to game stock car tracks, a bit of noise, road surface noise, and also some bumps, and that makes it feel much more alive. So I think that's a real good combination that technology has evolved with track detail and physics. So the fact that this is a little floaty is, I think, partially just the lack of resolution of the track model. It seems to run out of steam before the last shift light, so I probably want to shift up earlier than the shift light tells me. Little blip, little down. That's the limit. It doesn't snap back as violently as you would expect. It's really docile for Formula Ford, and you can see this is very chuckable. Chuckable like Norris. Chuck Norris, oh boy. It's really slow and it doesn't snap back, so it's extremely controllable. And R Factor back in the day was very frustrating because it was not very controllable, and Live for Speed was way more controllable. I'm driving like a hooligan, of course, that's how you test sims. Have to do a bit of a blip there. But you see how I'm just driving away. This is the first time, well, I made sure it worked, but that's all I did. So it's just something you can pick up and play, and like that opposite lock there, force feedback knows what to do. I'm quite positively surprised how it sort of feels, especially given its age. It's very good. Very floaty though, like you turn in and it's sort of, whoa. Oh yeah, well, there are limits too. What you can do. Oh, I've got Huizingveld there. That's nice. That's nice attention to detail. But overall, of course, texture resolution is really low, and it's 15 years old. Of course, you can see that. It also has rain, so I think we've got to try some of that. You know, easy to get the rear to turn and the braking. These, I'm not sure if it has an open diff or not. Probably. You don't really feel the sliding so much, or the understeer in the force feedback, it seems sort of a more of a linear increasing resistance, but it does make the front tires want to point in the direction they want to roll, so it helps you a lot with opposite lock, but it otherwise isn't very subtle with like, now it doesn't get lighter with big understeer and stuff, so it's definitely not that advanced, but as a driving aid it helps a lot. Okay, so when do we turn in here? Left. It's very blurry. That wasn't too bad. Oh boy, it was. Oh, ow. Feels great, actually. Of course, also relatively. I mean, it's very old, but this is about the moment in the video where I probably subconsciously decide that the video title will include something like unnecessary long video. Not sure if there's a flat spot now, it shakes a little bit. Did it have flat spots? I'm not really up to speed with that. I regret not doing this more when it came out, because I was somehow disappointed with the first 10 minutes and that was enough. Another reason for the hype is that its predecessor to Netkar Pro, Netkar Nemi, was a free title with a Ferrari 360 road car, also I think Formula Ford. I cannot remember actually, and also historic Ferrari. I really like that. And in fact there's a story that way back I worked at a computer store and I snuck a copy of Netkar Nemi onto the display computers with a replay of, well, this sort of driving with the old Ferrari and TV cam. I still have a picture of that somewhere. So it was shown to dozens of people from the city of Groningen here in the Netherlands who were visiting the computer store that day. They saw my drifting and they all asked, hey, what game is that? Looks great. So the history with Netkar and Kunos' first title, Netkar Nemi, was quite positive and a lot of fun to drive. And I got just disappointed, but trying it now, it's quite chuckable, drivable, and I imagine now I'm a bit of a hooligan, but if you try to be quick and smooth, it's quite a nice challenge. You see how I'm just playing with the car, it's so super nice. Well, there's another 15-minute video. Late apex. Oh, I think we emptied the tank, bros. All right, we emptied. That's timing. Can we make it? I think we can. Brilliant timing. Well, that's probably my first ever sort of serious go in Netkar Pro, and I'm quite impressed. It feels very natural. It's fun. Try some rain, shall we? Pick up this slider that you cannot see. Bzz, full rain, drive. I think we are on slicks. Can we change that? I don't know. Let's see how this goes. Oh. Oh. I think you can say really wet. Even with some raindrop effects, I have no idea. It's hard to see. Oh, oh. So I can safely say I've never driven in the rain a Netkar Pro before. Constant wheel spin. And this was a selling point, of course, because neither R-Factor nor Live for Speed had rain. I think it's just less grip. That's God's approval of the drift there, the thunder. You have to keep in mind, of course, I'm being very positive, but it's also relatively to the age of the game. Can we get another approval? Yes, we can. Oh, we can't. Oh, we're off the track. Yes, almost off the track. Right, one more lap in the wet then. Let's make it stylish. Even though I don't know when to turn in. Oh yeah, more approval of supreme beings. Oh, that's too much. That's too much. No, we've held it. Enter with a little bit of brakes, it'll come around nicely. You have to be on your toes. It's nice, actually. Oh, and we're around. Well, wow. Is it accurate rain? I think it's quite simplified, but the low grip and the sliding for its age, yeah, this is quite impressive. Let's try something else though. So this is a seriously quick formula car. Oh, not a lot of steering lock. There we are. quick. Seem to have to blip myself on the downshifts. I'm assuming flat out. Oh, I'm assuming, yes. It's a bit on rails and a little unresponsive. It's perhaps like Live for Speed, where the quicker car sort of felt a little less advanced than the slower. And I think to some extent, physics has just probably gotten more complicated with aerodynamics, being ride height sensitive and all that sort of stuff. I don't know what it's here, but it's probably reasonably simplified. That was just being really stupid. But you've come to expect that now, haven't you? Here it feels a little like the line doesn't really change with a big understeer. You also don't feel steering going light. And you're off the track again. Just to show you the invisible people with the yellow flags. See? Special attention to that. It's a little weird that I seem to have to... oh, what about damage? Blip to shift down. Oh, I think we have some slight damage. Perhaps a little bit. Oh, it's the oval spec. Keeps wheel straight to go left. It's fixed. Pit crew has fixed it. Thank you, pit crew. You're the best. Allow me to break it again. Steering wheel is beeping at me, so detects some clipping. It feels a little less direct here, the force feedback. Do that a bit more myself, the correction, than with the Formula Ford, where it's very helpful. It doesn't really respond to on and off throttle there. It doesn't seem to stick to a line. It's not very responsive there. Of course, I haven't touched setup or driving it badly, of course. That's flat out. feels a little twitchy when it goes. But this should not be an easy car. You definitely feel the force feedback loading up with speed though, that's cool. Oops. Well, that's different. It's of course a lot harder than the Formula Ford, so perhaps that's why I'm struggling a little bit more. And but again, for its age, I wasn't too impressed with Live for Speed with the quicker cars. This is probably better, but I feel that our Factor 1, even though not that many great cars were available back then in such early in its life, modding hadn't really gotten all that good yet, but you can sort of see that the potential of R-Factor was quite high with its advanced aerodynamics and actual suspension geometry and stuff. I'm not sure how accurate this does. Like, oh, accurate crashing, that's for sure. So I think R-Factor was just a platform with a higher limit. We've bent it again, we've oval spec'd it for the second time. But I'm quite impressed. I think I'm gonna leave it here. So, summing up, briefly, tested it only like one car, two cars, one track. But it's very fun to try this R-Factor Pro. If you still have a license somewhere, you can still get it. And if you Google it, it's very easy to find a fix for the field of view for triple screen. It still works well, and it's nice to have a look back in time what it was like back then. I'm pretty impressed how it sort of stood up and is drivable. Force feedback is quite reasonable. It's not up to ACC or AMS or RF2, of course it isn't. There are probably still some fanboys out there who swear by Netkar Pro. Well, I don't think that's fair, but it definitely was a lot better in its day than I've gave it credit for, and I've only played it, well, I think today I've played it more than ever when it was new, so definitely stupid again not doing this more back in the day, because it was clearly a good sim. So there's a brief look at Assetto Corsa, Assetto Corsa 0.1 Netkar Pro. Hope you like that, guys. Not too in-depth, don't want to spend too much time with it. Still have to get quick with RF2, which is going to be hard. So thanks for watching, and more stuff at some point in the future. Bye bye.